Welcome to the session Intellectual Property Rights in Information Technology. In this session, we are going to discuss about the policies, protection and compliance to be followed by IT companies with respect to intellectual property rights. In today's session, we are going to deal with the definition and purpose of intellectual property rights in information technology, role of intellectual property rights in digital innovation and cybersecurity, overview of global and national intellectual property rights laws, importance of intellectual property rights in cybersecurity innovations, types of intellectual property in information technology, emerging trends and challenges in intellectual property rights for information technology, best practices for information technology with respect to the intellectual property rights. Now, in the world of information technology, it is all about the digital content creation. Now, this digital content creation might involve the source codes, algorithms, software framework or any other sort of important components which are rendered or created towards the digital products and services. Now, in IPR, it is all about the creation and ownership. Now, who owns the intellectual properties? As the word says, intellectual property rights, like who gets the rights or ownership. And it is very clear in the usual IPR setup, the creator or the first time designer is also supposed to own it, like to get the rights of that content, innovation, creation, they need to own that, claiming that they have created that. And to own the digital content, the user or the company has to provide sufficient information. Now, if a particular IT company is owning a number of patents or property rights like digital property rights, it also symbolizes its prosperity. Let us try to understand how exactly IT companies are owning the intellectual property rights. Now, IPR plays a crucial role in protecting digital innovations, software and cyber tools. Now, that is the main thing what the IT companies do, like they design lots and lots of softwares. And today with the innovation of digital era, there is lot of content created in terms of art, music or any other relevant things. Now, let us try to understand what IPR in general is and how that is applicable on the digital content media. The intellectual property rights in IT law are the legal rights to intangible creations of human mind. Now, these might include copyrights, patents, trademarks and trade secrets. IPRs are protected against use without consent. Now, one can be punished if they are copying, stealing or unauthorized use of any of such original creations. Now, the purpose of IPR is to encourage and reward creative work, to prevent third parties from profiting from someone else's creativity, to promote fair trading, to recognize the efforts of creators. Now, with all this purpose, it is very clear that intellectual property rights encourages creativity, innovation and ownership. Now, let us also try to understand with few examples what exactly IPR is. Now, IPR might fall into any of these categories like patents for inventions, copyrights for literary and artistic works like novels, plays and films, trademarks, industrial designs, domain names, confidential information, database rights, service marks and logos. So, with these examples, we see there is a mix of general intellectual property rights as well as the information system or IT part included in that. Now, whatever is created in reality, the same could also be replicated in terms of digital content. Now, this poses as a challenge. Now, let us say like somebody has created a beautiful painting work. Unless the person owns the particular right of that creation, it is open for somebody else to copy or say that they created it at the later stages. So, there are governing bodies through which the intellectual properties could be claimed as rights for ownership, like that it belongs to the particular person who created that. Sufficient information has to be provided and the right is owned. Now, in case of digital innovation and creation, IPR plays a very crucial role. Intellectual property rights with respect to, digital content technologies play an important role. One of the major reason is today the whole world is transacting with the digital content. Now, this digital content might be created in one part of the world and distributed across the globe because of internet technologies. Majority of the organizations are busy in creating and distributing. Now, these deployments are done with the help of their employees or clientele teams or their sub-networks. It becomes quite challenging to understand who created what. Now, there is where companies lay down policies. Once the digital content is created, the companies try to make policies and ensure to gain patents or ownership. Now, there are few reasons why they do this. Now, this might be for legally protecting the creators of digital content and the technologies what has been created, to encourage investment in research and development, promoting innovation, to safeguard sensitive information from unauthorized access, creating an environment where companies can confidently develop and commercialize new digital products. Now, there is where IPR plays an important role. Now, when we look at the national and the global intellectual property rights, now let us take an overview of national and global intellectual property rights laws. The global and the national IPR laws are legal frameworks which protect the creations of mind like inventions, artistic works, designs and symbols by granting exclusive rights to their creators for a specific period. Now, usually this period is for 20 years. Now, this also aims to foster innovation and economic growth through incentivizing creativity, and international treaties like one of the popular one is the Paris Convention and Berne Convention, which is further administered by the World Intellectual Property Organization. Now, when it comes to India, we have National Intellectual Property Rights Policy of India, which was designed and adopted since 2016. So, most of the companies fall under the IPR laws of 2016. Now, this policy was created with the ambition Creative India, Innovative India. So, the government was thinking of encouraging lot of inventions, not only creating the inventions or just creating and leaving it as it is. They wanted people to own it and claim it. Now, this, if it is a source of international business, the government would also help these creators to extend or gain royalties by sharing the patents or by exchanging the intellectual properties for other sources. So, the global and the national laws pertaining to IPR laws with respect to the information technology vary from zone to zone or country to country. The organization or the individual living in the respective country or sharing the data to the other country should keep in mind these IPR laws. Now, let us look into the importance of intellectual property rights in cybersecurity innovations. Now, it encourages innovation like ensuring developers and companies to benefit from their inventions, prevents software piracy, protects against unauthorized use of information technology products. It enhances cybersecurity. It prevents theft of digital assets and proprietary technologies. Above all, it boosts the business value. Companies with strong IPR portfolios attract investors and partners. Now, every company makes an effort to own the rights. If it is created by their engineers or developers, now there are certain policies laid down to ensure that legal claimings happen in a systematic manner. Now, how does the intellectual property rights differ when it comes to information technology? In the next few minutes, we are going to understand how IPR plays an important role with respect to the information technology industry. Now, to start with, we have copyrights. Now, copyrights with respect to the digital code, content, website or database. Now, a copyright gives protection from all these things, prevents unauthorized copying of modification of software. One of the best example is, let us say a company created an operating system like Microsoft has the copyright for the operating system Windows which it has created. Now, if anybody tries to create a part of the software or the software which has been used with the operating system designing, the company has complete rights. So, it can go ahead and sue the other company which is copying. Now, this also prevents the infringement issues in IT. Now, one of the best example for this today, with the intervention of artificial intelligence, a platform on GitHub gives an open source for multiple developers to come and create the content. Now, who is creating what is a question. Whether it was created by an individual or whether it was created by an artificial intelligence is the question. If it is created by the person, it is very easy to identify and give the right. But what if it is created by artificial intelligence? Now, who owns the copyright for the content created by the machine? Now, that poses as one of the greatest challenge in today's time when it comes to copyright with respect to the digital content. Moving on, we have the next topic like patents. Now, most of these IT companies are creating and owning patents. A patent is the ownership for whatever they have created. Now, a patent helps by protecting new and unique software processes, algorithms and IT inventions. Usually, the grant is for a fixed period like usually 20 years, and this is usually given to the inventor. Now, software and IT patents, what can be patented and what cannot be patented, a set of norms are laid down. So, there is one of the best examples for this is Google, which has been creating lots and lots of content on the digital media. Now, one of the best practice Google has is the moment anything is created by the company or the employees, they have a systematic policy of taking a patent. So that gives them the ownership of claiming they have created that invention, and that could further be used only with the consent or not to be used. So even when it is not to be copied or used, the norms are laid down. Now, trademarks protect the brand names, logos, domains and user interface designs. It prevents brand misuse and counterfeit of IT products. A very best example for trademarks is the iPhone logo, like the iPhone trademark of Apple company. Now, it protects not only the IT brands and logos, it also ensures like nobody else is duplicating, imitating such valued brands, logos, designs. Apart from this, cyber squatting and domain name disputes are there. Let us say like there's a company like Google, Google is the normal alphabet. Like what if somebody tries to create a near fake like Googl and it is complete imitation of Google. Now, there are multiple ways of protecting this. So, another best example of this trademarks war is between Apple and Samsung. The snippet clearly shows us the trademark battle between the big giants Apple and Samsung. Apple and Samsung have been involved in a series of patent and trademark battles since 2011. The companies have sued each other in multiple countries, including the United States, South Korea and other countries. Now, there are international bodies who are taking long time to resolve these issues. So, usually like if both are operating in India, it is under the governance of India. So, the country where these competitor companies are putting the case against each other also will matter. Now, with this, like in information technology, another big challenge is creation of content through multiple codes, algorithms and other things. Now, all these activities are done by employees. Now, when employees are doing this, definitely there are trade secrets. So, managing the trade secrets is again one of the greatest challenge. When employees leave one firm and go to other firm, or intentionally or unintentionally, when they share this information, it becomes one of the greatest threat to the company which is owning the copyright. Now, there is where trade secrets also are part of intellectual property rights and plays a crucial role in protecting the ownership. So trade secrets could be like something which are protecting the proprietary software and algorithms. Now this could be achieved through proper encryption and cyber security measures. So information must be confidential and provide a competitive advantage. One of the best example is Google search algorithm, which claimed like one of the employee who designed this later was found sharing this information with the competitor's company. So companies have this challenge of framing policies to ensure that nobody is breaching these policies or measures which has been incorporated by the organizations to maintain the trade secrets. Now moving forward, we have digital rights management. Now digital rights management is used to protect digital content and software from piracy. This includes encryption, licensing agreements and anti-copying measures. One of the best example for this is the Adobe PDF digital rights management protection for ebooks. Now you might have seen there is like a mark made on the documents, or if you try to download or copy a digital content, it would not allow you to copy. Now that simply means that that digital component has been protected. Today, with the help of latest technology, it is possible to protect the digital content. Now, having understood the different dimensions of intellectual property rights with respect to the information technology products and services, let us try to understand the emerging trends and challenges in information technology. With the emergence of artificial intelligence, machine learning, there has been enormous happenings around the IT products and services. Some of the challenges is the artificial intelligence, which is able to create anything just like a human software engineer, developer or creator. Now this poses as one of the greatest threat. Now other than that, we have the challenges which are existing since long time, like software patent disputes. Like many software patents overlap, like leading to legal battles. We have seen some of the companies claiming like we created this first, and they do have enough evidences for this. Now since the digital content is available on the open media source or internet, this sort of battles become common. Then again we have piracy and cybercrime. Widespread software piracy affects revenue and innovation. The company which is creating the original content suffers. So they request the users to buy the authentic version. Sometimes it is unintentionally passed from one user to another user, and most of the users do not know that there is an infringement of the policy, just downloading the software as it is or copying or passing it to somebody else to use it. So to protect this, these days companies take measure of restricting it to the user code, access or system's IP address, but still they do have challenge in curbing this. Next we have AI generated software issues. As we discussed in the beginning, there is unclear legal framework on whether AI generated code can be patented or copyrighted. Now this is one of the unsolved issue with respect to all countries. The AI generated content, how it should be treated. So new laws are being framed, and who should be given the framework is a challenge, because you do not know where and how it got generated. So proper system needs to be implemented and monitored, and probably it takes little more time to evolve and define a particular measure with respect to this intellectual property rights of AI generated content. We also have open source versus proprietary software conflicts, like balancing innovation with legal compliance. So that again is another challenge. Now with all these challenges, what could be the best practices by the companies to put the IPR in place with respect to the IT companies? So some of the best practices for IT for IPR protection are registering the patents and copyrights for unique software and digital products, use non-disclosure agreements, NDAs, to protect trade secrets, implement strong licensing agreements for software distributions, monitor for infringements like using legal and cybersecurity tools, and above all, comply with the global IP laws. So we have been discussing under various topics in this sessions like GDPR, General Data Protection Regulatory Acts, We have DMCA, Digital Millennium Copyright Acts, and World Intellectual Property Organization. Companies operating across borders should keep in mind these international laws. Now, with all the growing digital content creation and ownership, there are many questions which are not resolved. One of the major reason is big companies have been busy in creating the content, creating softwares and monetizing it. While they do take care of owning the ownership, they are able to spend on patents, trademarks or gaining rights over the content or inventions what they have created. The individuals are still in need of this support. So there are IPR departments, IPR policies set at country levels to guide people who invent new creations with respect to information technology products and services. Now let us take a quick look of the topics we discussed today. We started with definition and purpose of IPR in information technology, role of intellectual property rights in digital innovation and cybersecurity. We also took a very small snapshot of global and national IPR laws, importance of IPR in cybersecurity innovations, types of intellectual properties in information technology, emerging trends, challenges in IPR for IT, and we concluded with best practices for IT in IPR protections. Now, some of the references used in this section. Let's take a look at the interesting facts. Thank you.